Welcome back to Bikes with Ben. I've been on a mission here to find the best bang for your buck Shimano drivetrain. Today we're going to be covering Shimano's rear shifter options. What's the differences between the Deore SLX, XT, and XTRs? What's the price of each and which one should you buy? If you don't know already, Shimano lets you mix and match your components across the entire line. What that allows you to do is take a Deore cassette, put on a high-end XTR derailleur, and maybe a middle-of-the-road SLX shifter, and everything will work great together. What that allows us to do is to find the best bang for our buck components, combine them all together, and make the ultimate Shimano drivetrain. If you haven't seen my last video, you can check that out up here. I covered all the rear derailleurs. What we found out in that category is that as price went up, weight went down, your materials of construction changed to allow that weight to go down. But in the end of things, the Deore or SLX was your best bang for the buck, and you could upgrade to the XT jockey wheels if you really wanted to. In the shifter side of things, weight doesn't really go down because there's not much weight to shed, but there are some differences that you should consider before you buy. Let's get this wall cleared off behind me. We'll use the Magical Powers video editing to show you what those are. All right, let's get right into it. As I said before, there are four main tiers to Shimano's mountain bike group sets. You're going to start with Deore, SLX, XT, and XTR. Now, in the rear derailleur categories, as price went up, weight went down. In a shifter, there's not much weight you're going to save on this thing. All of these weigh the exact same amount, plus or minus a few grams, and that is 117 grams. So, if the weight is the same, why is the price going up on this? And before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's check out the price. Now, I have links for the Amazon and eBay purchases for these shifters, and you'll find that the eBay ones are much cheaper for some reason over the Amazon, but if you're in a big rush and can't wait for eBay to ship it, or whoever's selling on eBay to ship it, you can use the Amazon ones if you want. So, the Deore derailleur can be had for about 16 bucks on eBay, which is crazy. The SLX can be had for $24. The XT is about $33, and then the XTR is $136. So, yeah, don't buy the XTR. I could have told you that at the beginning. I'm convinced that nobody's ever purchased an XTR component, so just write it off. Let's focus on the important ones here. There's not much difference in price there. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, $15 to $32 is not going to add much to the cost of your high-end, brand new 2024 mountain bike. But there are some important things to note. The Deore and SLX are almost identical. I couldn't find a difference between the two, so if you're really stuck on saving $10, $12, go with the Deore, ignore the SLX. In my opinion, the XT is your best bang for your buck, and here are the reasons why. There are three main differences besides price on these lineups, and the XT and XTR fall into the same group. The SLX and Deore fall into the other group. This here is an SLX derailleur, and what you can see is that as I shift it, the housing cover here moves with the arm. What that means is as I shift, there is a slight opening in the derailleur that could allow dirt and debris to enter. The XT and XTR derailleurs don't have that. They've got a bearing right here at the pivot point, and just the pivot arm moves, the cover stays on, and you're not opening up the inside of the shifter to the outside elements. Now, in practice, I used this guy for over a year. When I opened it up, there was nothing inside of it. So I don't think that is a big change, and I wouldn't spend even the extra $15 from the Deore to the XT for that. But the next two are the important ones and why I would spend my money on it. So the multi-release or multi-upshift and downshift is what Shimano is calling it. So before we get too into the weeds, we'll do a quick overview of upshifts and downshifts because I get confused. An upshift is going to a harder gear. Even though you're moving up the cog and up the cassette, you are up shifting to a harder gear, which is down the cassette to a smaller cog. Think of it like you're driving a stick shift vehicle. You're upshifting to go to a harder gear, a bigger gear, higher numbered gear, and you are downshifting to go to an easier gear. So downshift moves you up the cassette to the bigger cog, and I'll probably mix those words up here in about 10 more seconds because I can never figure it out. So on an SLX and Deore shifter, you can do 3 downshifts in one go and 1 upshift. So if we hold this like we would on a bike and we press this knob here, you get 1, 2, 3. And if we want to upshift, we can do that once. Now we can do this in any direction, trigger pull or push. So I like the trigger pull. It's what I use. You can't do the trigger pull on a lot of the SRAM ones. And that's what I've gotten really used to. I really like having the thumb push for the downshift and the finger pull for the upshift. So 3-in-1 on the SLX and Deore. On the XT over here, on this bike, I can do 1, 2, 3, 4 on the upshifts, downshifts. I can do 4 on the downshifts. And then, once we're back in kind of a neutral position here, I can do 2 on the upshifts. Now, I can only do 2 on the upshift when I push. I can't do 2 on the upshifts when I use the trigger. So, for me, it's 4-to-1 versus 3-to-1. 4 downshifts in a single thumb actuation and 1 upshift and a trigger pull. But depending on how you use your shifter, it is 4 versus 3 there and 2 versus 1 here. A nice to have. It is nice to go up the hill and be able to downshift. Yeah. Faster in less presses. Not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. But the instant release is the next thing we're going to talk about, and it is really nice. The SLX and Deore do not have the instant release feature that the XT and XTR do. Now, what that means in practice is a release is when you are shifting to a higher gear. You're releasing tension on the cable, so you're allowing the derailleur to move back to its home position, which is down the cogs. So on the SLX or Deore like this, what you'll see is as I press this to shift, you'll see the cable move slightly. If I release, the cable moves its full length. A little bit, the rest. A little bit, the rest. What that means in practice when you're riding is the shift of your chain doesn't actually occur until you release this shifter lever. So this is not shifted. As soon as I release, I am now shifted. On the XT and Deore shifters, as soon as I press this, I'm at full cable release. So instant release. I don't have to wait to press and release to shift. So it seems so little. It seems like, yeah, why wouldn't you just let go? Well, it allows you to do the multi-release on the XT. But in practice, it really does make a difference. It makes your shifting feel cleaner. It makes your bike feel more responsive. And I think for the $12, the $16, whatever the difference is there from Deore to XT, it's 100% worth it. The XT is by far the best bang for your buck. It's $33. In the grand scheme of your bike, that is nothing. And the features are there to make your bike feel way more responsive than it does on the Deore. Personally, that's what I run. I ran the SLX for a year, so I do know what I'm talking about a little bit here. And the XT shifter is the Bikes with Ben bang for your buck purchase. Other than that, thanks for watching. I've got a big group of videos planned for this same kind of thing. I've got all the comparison charts and whatnot in a link below, Google Sheet. I've got all the links for the purchases on eBay and Amazon for these guys down below. Check out my last video on the Rio derailleurs. When this whole series is all said and done, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and get myself a hardtail frame and get all these components that I've recommended, build up my first fancy hardtail, and hopefully have some fun on it. So again, thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please like this video. I'm going to keep making videos like this. I did a week a video a week for the end of 2023. It was something I was trying to get myself into. I really like doing these, but I'm not doing a video a week anymore. I don't want to get burnt out on it. This is something I'm doing for fun. So new videos will come as I have inspiration. Until the next time, thanks for watching. Get out there and ride, even if it's freezing cold outside. I won't be, but you have fun. Thanks, guys.